Okay, team, happy Saturday. Good evening, everybody. It is December 17th, 2022, and hopefully you are all staying warm and having a fantastic weekend. Well, today was a big day. So congratulations to Croatia for placing third in the FIFA World Cup. Awesome game, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys were able to check it out, but it was a good day. Tomorrow is the big FIFA World Cup final, obviously between France and Argentina. Personally, I hope Argentina pulls it off. I really want Leo Messi to get a World Cup. So I think that game starts at 10 a.m. Eastern time, New York time, whatever you want to call it. So hopefully you'll all be watching that. I know I will. So big good luck is in order to our friends in Argentina as well as France on the World Cup final tomorrow, 10 a.m. Now, I do want to say something. So tomorrow obviously is Sunday, and that is when we do our markets look ahead live stream, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it. I'm going to give it about a 50-50 chance. So what I want to do is I want to hedge our bets. So maybe we'll do a little bit of a markets look ahead live stream tonight. So we're going to be talking about some major events that are coming up on the week ahead on Wall Street. Now, if you could summarize next week in a couple of words, I would say it's going to be all about real estate. Now, why do I say that? Well, we're going to be getting so much housing data, it's not even to be believed. Starting off on Monday, December 19th, we are going to hear from the National Association of Home Builders as it releases its housing market index for December. We are also going to be hearing from the National Association of Realtors as they report their existing home sales. That's going to be on Wednesday, the 21st. We're also going to be getting some permitting data out. We're going to be getting housing start data out. And I think this is going to be really important to pay attention to because as we've been reviewing on the live streams, every single month consistently, the National Association of Home Builders existing home sales, it's just been really falling off a cliff, right? We've been seeing extreme deceleration in the housing market as it relates to sales transaction volume. And we all know why, right? For obvious reasons, interest rates are going up. We are just coming off the back of 4 consecutive 75 basis point rate hikes. Last week, we got an additional 50 basis point rate hike, bringing the Fed funds rate to right around 4.25%, 4.5%. We're right on track to getting to 5% by early, I would say Q1 2023. So we'll talk about that. Tonight's all going to be about housing. But let me say hello to everybody in the chat. And speaking of housing, I was able to film a really cool standalone video for everybody, which should be posted within the next week or so, doing a walking tour of one of my favorite neighborhoods here in Miami, Florida, called Normandy Shores and Normandy Isles. And we talk about the real estate market there because it has absolutely exploded. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. But without further ado, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. And hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. So Shatoya Davis, welcome. Fairway. Austin City Limits is here. December is here. Our good friend Vinny Castellano, Jonathan Richards, Tahoe 814, British Gray, Rafed. FredX is here. Vinny Castellano, please extend my regards to Maria. I Want to Be a GMO is here. Gary Carpenter, Daryl from Chicago, Illinois, Becky Anderson, Brick Stonewall. Good to see you, MD. Buy the book, EBITDA, British Gray, Jonathan France. Wow, we got a full house. Al Baker, good to see you. Buy the book. Solo 401, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Hopefully you're having a killer weekend so far. I see DJ's reviewing under 2. Good to see you, my friend. Mr. Wonderful, Gabe Pohl, Laureen Dutchman, and many others. So let me go ahead and close my laptop. We're going to get started. You know what we're going to do tonight, everybody? We are going to be walking to Brickell Key. I've been saying we're going to do that for the past 2 or 3 live streams, but we just get so sidetracked. But we are going to go make a gun for it to Brickell Key. I think it's going to be a really nice night. It was raining, but the rain has tapered off. So hopefully the rain holds up on us. So let me go ahead, put my laptop in my backpack, and we will get started, my friends. As always, we are starting off the live stream here in the WeWork office of the 200 Southeast Financial Center. I'll give you guys a quick panoramic view. Now, I have been getting your emails. There's been many inquiries about people asking about WeWork, saying, Tom, I noticed that you're starting off your live streams in the WeWork offices. Let me know what you think about it, because I'm thinking about signing up. I think it's pretty fantastic. I mean, if you ask me, where else can you work wherever you want, 24/7, 365 for $300 a month? So if you're a startup, if you're trying to bootstrap it, you're on a low budget, or you don't want to raise money or something like that to go spend a ton of money on huge long-term leases, I think WeWork is your best bet. All right, let's head out. We have our Christmas tree here. Oh, Vinny Castellano says, Tom, you need my email address again. So Vinny, I did get your message. Hold on, let me just press the elevator. If you go to the YouTube About Me page, it'll have my email address right in there. Paul Greenwell, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining, Paul. Now, anybody in the chat from Buffalo, New York, supposedly they got hammered with snow the other day.
Floor, lobby.
Okay, this is the main lobby of the 200 Southeast Financial Center. As you can tell, it is all decorated for the holidays. We have our menorah here, and then we have our large Christmas tree. Yeah, Mr. Wonderful says, Tom, it looks like a very expensive New York City loft/studio / living space. Yeah, I mean, the co-working spaces are pretty unique, right? And now, obviously, it's not for everybody. I would say, especially if you're, well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'll say it anyway. In my line of work, I have to be on a lot of conference calls, even making cold calls and just being on the phone all the time. So the $300 that I'm talking about, I'll give you one more look of the inside here as we make our way out. Wow, talk about humid. Now, it really wasn't that humid today, but it just started raining. We had like really big downpours here in downtown Miami. And then it stopped in like 15 minutes, so not too bad. Now, I'll explain sort of how the WeWorks works. And the basic is you pay $299 a month, and you can have access to any of the WeWork locations, not only in the United States, but globally. And some of the locations are 24/7, 365, like this one right here, the 200 Southeast Financial Center. And you have access to all of the communal space, right? So it's not like you're gonna have your own cubicle, your own office. If you want your own office, you can do that. But usually that's probably gonna run you anywhere from $800 to, I think the most expensive I saw was like $2,500. But look, you can find a very quiet corner in the office and be on conference calls, make calls, all that stuff. And it's worked pretty good for me. And I think a lot of these co-working spaces now that, it seems as if a lot of businesses are shifting towards hybrid work environment, it's really going to disrupt the, commercial office space. Nobody is going to sign, 36-month leases anymore, in my opinion. Hey, Sanjib is here. Good to see you, Sanjib. Happy Saturday to you. My friend Austin City Limits is here. Welcome. SME Media, what's up? Mike C says, Tom, supposedly another polar vortex is headed to the United States. Oh my God. Gary Carpenter, what's up? Al Baker says it was raining lightly here in Hollywood. It just stopped. Now, somebody was talking to me about, I think I got an email, a request to go up to Hollywood, Florida. Supposedly it's changed a ton over the last couple of years. Oh, look at the cat. Now, here's something that I love about Miami. We have so many stray cats. Let's see if he's nice. Hey. Hello. If I had food, I'd give it to you, pal, but I don't. Ah, there's two of them. If I had food, I'd give it to him, but I don't. All right, guys, take care. Anyway, I got an email. And look, I'm not too familiar with Hollywood, Florida, to be honest. But I guess back in the day, I think there's still a casino there. Is that correct? For all of those who are know Florida a little bit better than I do. But supposedly over the years, especially after the pandemic, when a ton of people from the north and really all over the country started to move here to Florida, it's become like almost like a yuppie kind of style town. Is that a pretty good characterization? Now, we are going to be walking Brickell Key tonight. Al Baker, you're right, the Hard Rock is there. So they have that main building that is shaped like a guitar, right? December says, hey, may I ask your religion? Just wondering. Strange comment, but I like it. I'm a Catholic. Clubfoot, good to see you. Al Baker, welcome. Anyway, Hollywood, Florida is, I was actually looking at some property there, but it was just too far away from the action of downtown Miami and Brickell. So I opted with a location just south of Aventura, which is really nice. So look, it's very close to everything. I take the 3 bus to get to downtown Miami. It gets me there in 35 minutes. But speaking of these little sort of Vespa type scooter things, you know, I never knew how much these things cost. So I don't know what prompted me to look into it. And I think, well, the prices that I was looking at, they're like $1,400. I thought these things were like $8,000, being as oblivious as I am. So I think I'm actually probably going to buy one for like $1,200. It gets 100 miles to the gallon. And, well, I'll just tell you the backstory of why I'm thinking about getting one. As we move into the new year, I wouldn't say, I don't really make New Year's resolutions, but one of the things that I want to try to do a little bit better or be a little bit better at is optimizing and maximizing my white space. Now, when I talk about white space, what I mean is sort of a lot of that dead time where you could be productive in doing something else. So I've been doing some analysis, sort of like post-analysis on a lot of my commuting time. Obviously, I take the Long Island Railroad when I'm in New York, but here I have to take the bus, and sometimes the bus is a little bit late, and I could spend like an hour and a half on travel time. But if I get a little like scooter or a Vespa, I can zip places in 25 minutes, and over the course of the year, I'm gonna get back like a week of my time to be more productive and capitalize on business opportunities and other things. Anyway, so I never knew that they were so cheap. I think they're like $1,200 to $1,400, and they get 100 miles to the gallon. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy one. Never know. DWG says, Tom, I had one and you will love it. So DWG, what do you recommend since you've had one? Is there a specific type, a specific brand that you recommend? Hey, Dusty Cole is here. Good to see you, Dusty. Welcome. Prince Ice says, what about a Harley? No, I don't really want to spend a lot of money, and I'm not a big motorcycle guy. Like, these are just basic scooters, right? I think they only go 30 miles an hour. Mr. Wonderful says, what about the crazy Florida drivers? Yeah, that is one thing. But you know what? Where I live, I can get to downtown Miami. And here's a view of the W Hotel and Tower, by the way. One of my favorite buildings here in the Brickell area. And then you have the beautiful Aston Martin building. But anyway, I can get to downtown Miami. I can get to South Beach, Normandy Shores, Normandy Isles, all my favorite places by taking back roads. I don't have to take the highway. And I don't even think they're allowed on the highway anyway. I mean, the maximum speed is like 30 miles an hour. Al Baker's is a Honda or a Yamaha. They make really nice ones. John Barter, good to see you. Says hello, good evening, nice people. Welcome, John. Trust you're having a good weekend so far. We are going to be walking all the way over here to Brickell Key, checking it out. We haven't been here in like a month, so I think it's going to be a pretty interesting walk. Using People is here. Vinny Castellano, Fred X, welcome. Ryan Royal. Yeah, war walkers like Tom, you'd be roadkill if you take I-95. Yeah, I'm not a big highway type guy. I would just take all the back roads. The point is, what I'm really trying to do in the new year in 2023 is, well, first, I've already done this. I've audited pretty much my entire life and my time, right? And I would advise everybody to do it. I think it's a pretty good exercise. So I would buy a notepad at the store, and what you should do is, without trying to have a bias, just go through your regular life, but after you do a specific task, just write it down and write down how much time you spent on that task. And what you'll notice if you do this for about a week, you will be so surprised at all of the white space, I call it white space, that you have within your life. You know, taking sort of like little breaks that are not really productive, commuting time that is not productive. So what you can do is you can try to optimize that time to say, if I can give myself, 30 minutes of added productivity each day, I mean, what is that going to translate into dollar value? I mean, it's really exponential, guys. So that's sort of what I'm trying to do. And one of the biggest, especially when I'm here in Miami, is commute time. But even though I try to maximize my commute time by reading or listening to podcasts, I think if I can get to my destination 30 minutes quicker and then have 30 minutes of deep work in the office, that's just going to be an amazing ROI. And if I could buy something for $1,500 or $1,200 that gets 100 miles to the gallon, that'll do that for me, I think it'll be pretty good. Jonathan Francis, you can reprogram an electric bike and make it go 30 plus miles an hour with no registration. Yeah, that's another thing. I got to register it. I got to get insurance. But at the end of the day, if I'm also showing up to business meetings and things like that, maybe it looks a little bit more professional, especially down here in Miami, because I see tons of people on them, right? When you go to Brickell and you walk around, you actually see a lot of business people wearing suits driving these things around. So I don't know if I want to be on like a bicycle, but it's a good idea, pretty good idea. Smee Media says, Tom, you offer so many good life hacks and tips. Please keep them coming. I definitely will. Now, these are not original, by the way. I get these from, friends who are much wiser and older than me. But I just try to improve myself incrementally every single year. Now, I think a lot of people have, New Year's resolutions and set goals and things like that. But the relative success that I've had in my life, and before I get too distracted and ramble on, let's actually head towards Brickell Key, because you guys know me, I'll just go off on a tangent and then we'll never get there. And then War Walker is gonna have my head. So let's continue to Brickell Key, but I'll say this, and let me know if you guys in the comments have experienced something similar. So I've stopped really setting goals for myself, and I really did this way back in the day. Just really quick, if you sort of see the ground, it is so wet, and for whatever reason, in Miami only, every time it rains, it's literally like you're walking on ice. I don't know what it is, but the ground is so slippery. Anyway, so here's what I've found, in my life at least. instead of setting specific goals for myself, I build systems or a systematic framework that I can work every single day, if that makes sense. And I think the reason why I've been doing that, and it's been successful for me, I had a very successful enterprise sales guy tell me this before, is because if you just have a goal, right? Let's say if it's, you want to be whatever it is, you want to be a senior software engineer, you want to be, a senior sales guy or get promoted. If you just have that goal, you're only going to feel that dopamine hit when you achieve that goal, right? But if you can build a system that will get you to that goal and you can work it every day, and you repeat the activities in that system and develop a systematic framework for whatever you want, right? You're more likely to achieve the goal because you're committed to a system to get there, right? So maybe that's show up to the office at whatever hour, make this many calls, study this for this amount of hours, go to this many networking events or whatever it is. But again, I'm in that process. I'm trying to optimize for 2023. And I think I'm not as disciplined as I'd want to be. And I think I have too much white space during the day. Yeah, shadow stock. Dilbert Scott Adams on why it's better to have systems than goals. Yeah, so I had, and good to see you, by the way. That's my good Twitter friend. Please follow him on Twitter if you haven't. Really, really awesome information there. Now, at my previous company, I think we'll cross now. At my previous company, there was probably one of the most talented enterprise salespeople I've ever met in my life. He worked out of the New York office, and he was just a total freaking killer. I mean, so successful. And he actually recommended me that system, right? And I think he was the one who recommended me to watch and sort of get to know sort of those specific books. I think Scott Adams have written a couple books. My client actually gave me one of them not too long ago. But anytime, as an enterprise salesperson, you're selling very, very long and large, complex deals, right? And the sales cycles are very long. You could be working a deal for 12 to 24 months, depending on what you're selling. So it's very important to keep your funnel extremely, extremely full, right? And anyway, I'll digress. He's the one who got me on to developing systems. Everything in your life, instead of just saying, this is the goal I want, don't even really think about that. Build a framework and work that framework every day relentlessly. And you'll probably have more success with it. All right, so we are outside of the Wells Fargo Center here, looking at the City National Bank building. Looks really, really nice. Hey, NMB 045, good to see you. NMB 045 says a system is like a plan to get to a goal. Yeah. Zazo says, did you sell anything? Yes, I did. Brick Stonewall says, that's why I don't make resolutions. They could lead to disappointment. Yeah, I don't know. That's just what has worked for me. But yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit more efficient in 2023. We'll see. But good to see you, NMB 045. Hopefully all is well in Canada. Kathy Lyons says, good evening, Tom, and hey, everybody. What's up? Good to see you. Now, anybody here from Buffalo, New York, I think you guys got like 12 inches of snow, maybe like 12 to 13 inches. Again, insanity. Now, I saw a very famous meteorologist post on Twitter today. He was talking about all the snow they got in Buffalo. I don't know how people can live like that. insane. I don't operate well in the snow at all. Shadow stocks is yes, sales cycle long. I've been at the end of making the decision to buy large enterprise software, create long-time connections as people move from one company to another, and those people move up. Yeah, I mean, shadow stock, it's funny you mention that. So I've really been focused my entire career on home healthcare agencies, nursing homes, and large hospitals. And it is a very, very small world. I'll say that. And I would say after my first 2 deals that I closed, 2 very, very large deals, let's just say a lot of the decision makers at these specific home healthcare agencies or even hospital chains, they either have family members that work at competing firms or competing agencies, or they have friends who were former employees. What is going on here? So that's what I'm talking about. The Miami drivers are horrible. But anyway, or I've had friends previously that have worked at the firm. So if you do right by a customer and you do a really, really good job on the implementation, literally, cradle to grave and take care of the customer, I've gotten massive deals 6 years down the line just because I kept the relationship intact. And they're like, hey, my cousin owns, Royal Care, nursing personnel. I want you to, help them with their EVV implementation. And that's a, multi-million-dollar deal that you didn't even have to prospect. So it's a really, really good point there. Once again, we have some of the boats out here. I know War Walker says it's like New York visitors that's honking away. Trend Fear says, Tom, can you explain how you keep those long-term relationships alive? Well, I think for me it may be, or it may have been a little bit easier, a little bit different. And I think the reason for that is because essentially when I went into tech sales, I said I want to get very industry specific. So I wasn't on a team that was specifically tasked, this is an interesting boat, my God, with selling into healthcare. But what I said was, let me do some research and look at the massive total addressable market. What is the fastest growing sector in the United States economy? And a lot of people don't know this, but the fastest growing job and most in-demand job in the United States is actually that of a home health aide. So there could be relatively small home healthcare organizations, right, on paper. So if you're at a big tech company or a big telecom company and you use different tools like ZoomInfo for your prospecting, many of these home healthcare organizations can show up in ZoomInfo as having, 50 employees. So you would think at first glance that that's not a really big company, but under the surface, they actually employ 5,000 to 8,000 home health aides, depending on the size of the org. So at the time when I first went into tech sales, I would say this was when, especially in New York State, there was a massive, massive push towards EVV software, and that's electronic visit verification. So in the home healthcare space, for those of you who are familiar, home health aides used to clock in and out on physical pieces of paper, right? So they used to carry around like sheets and sheets of paper and writing down what time they visited the patient. They were writing down what specific tasks they did with that patient. Did they administer medication? Did they, have to put them on a Hoyer lift? Did they have to bathe the patient, right? And all of this paperwork was very monotonous and very tedious. And that was causing friction within the org and causing a lot of employee churn at these home health care organizations. So it was an extremely high churn and very, very low employee retention sort of scenario. So EVV is essentially just a software where aides can clock in and out remotely. They don't have to go to the office on Fridays to put in their paperwork, and they could do all of their medical transactions HIPAA compliant, secured online. So I was in charge and tasked with selling a lot of that stuff. And since these organizations are so big, it can take sometimes multiple years to roll out these solutions. So I've been working very closely with the director of patient services and all these other folks at these agencies. So it sort of forced me to build that relationship. I used to joke around with my boss back in the day. Here's some really nice Christmas lights here. I used to joke around with my boss. I'm like, hey, it's like I don't even work for this company. It's like I work for, Ultimate Care, Royal Care, whatever home health care agency, because I was on site at the agencies all the time doing these deployments. And it's been really successful because, I think this is, now not a Vespa, but a dirt bike. All right, we got to keep pushing to Brickell Key. But it's been really successful because what we found is if you provide these home health care agencies with a device, right, either be a smartphone, and the agencies pay for the unlimited talk, text, and data and automatically kit and stage this software on the devices, it acts as an employee retention tool, and it's easier for these aides to do the job, right? So reducing friction in the organization and providing a benefit, increase employee retention. It's been a really, really big success. So just by sort of proof of concept, showing the customers you care, being there on site, that's sort of how I've been able to keep those relationships. And it's been pretty good, garnering a lot of referral business too. So Joe Driver says, Tom, have you ever read any of Tom Peters' books? I have not, but let me take a screenshot. Let me see. Tom Peters, I'm not sure. Yeah, Shadow Stocks says offer those potential clients insights, articles, industry-specific materials that could help them keep relationships alive and they'll never forget you. Yeah, it's very true. And also I would get creative, right? And it also depends on what you're selling. Now, again, what has worked for me may not work for somebody else. But I've found in at least the relative success that I've had is if you go very, very niche and industry specific, it will allow you to become an expert in that particular field. Now, why is that important? Well, if you think about, a salesperson that is not, that doesn't have an expertise in a particular field, well, you don't have an edge. And a lot of the times on this stream, we'll talk about investing, gaining your edge. What is your edge in the marketplace? So I always say this, I'm like, if you can get industry specific and only sell into one industry, that's going to allow you to learn everything there is to know about that specific industry. So when you're calling into, let's say, a home health care organization, it's not like you're just some regular sales guy and you don't know the ins and out and everything there is to know about home health care. But if you get on the phone with C-levels at these home health care agencies, and you could talk the talk and walk the walk, and the lingo, and all the compliance, the regulations, they're like, wow, well, this isn't a sales guy, this is a consultant, right? So I think just building that credibility, finding your edge, Now, in many organizations, they do have teams where you're selling into a specific vertical, right? Like, for example, one of my friends is at Salesforce and he's in the financial services team. So you're only prospecting into financial services companies. So this is what I'm talking about, like one of these sort of Vespas right here. Hey, Lady O, oh my God, good to see ya. Lady O is our moderator from New Jersey. Merry Christmas, good to see ya. So Lady O, I was just telling them, I'm gonna be flying back to New York Monday. I'm not flying back tomorrow because I wanna watch the World Cup, but it's good to see ya. Shadow Stocks is 100% right. You will have huge value to clients over the years and personally benefit as a consultant. Yeah, and I think to your point, as you move up the ladder, right? So if you want to go into tech sales or sales in general, the reason why I talk about sales is that's just because that's the industry I'm in. The hierarchy usually starts off as SMB, right? So SMB stands for small to medium-sized businesses. So you're selling into local mom and pop shops, right? But the goal is to move up the stack to the enterprise space. More horrible, angry Miami drivers. The goal is to move up the stack into the enterprise space where you're selling into the Fortune 500, Fortune 50, very large, complex deals to you over the other guy at the other company, right? So if you can find your edge and become an expert in the field, and now you're talking about, you know, the EVV mandate. What is the date, right? You're talking about everything that, you know, there is to know about home health care. You know, what are the major pain points of a home health care agency? Then you have an edge, right? Read up on HIPAA compliance laws. Read up on, you know, anything that could, hold on one second. I apologize, everybody. We're on a new streaming software and I could barely see the screen.
What's up?
All right, so this is Brickell Key. Hopefully we can get the Prism live stream to work again because I could barely see any of the chats. Yeah, a bit of Wander's new streaming platform. Yeah, for some reason, every time we use Prism, the comments don't show up for whatever reason. But anyway, so here's the bridge to Brickell Key. It's good to see a bit of a wander. Wow, a bit of a wander says I used Prism today for 9 hours and it was fine. I'm gonna have to check it out. Maybe we'll go back and see it. Gibson says, I miss Miami. Well, please come back and visit. We are now walking over the bridge to Brickell Key, and you can see the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in front of you. FredEx is 8-4. Yeah, I think as we get further over the bridge here, the views are going to get really, really nice. Very peaceful here too, I should add. So now you can see the W Hotel and Tower and the Aston Martin building. Wow, Lady O says, Tom, I'm headed to Italy tomorrow and hitting one of our coffee spots. Love that. Lady O, I think there's fireworks in the distance over here. Lady O, if you're going to be in that area, you should take a walk down to What is that one we like? Gasoline Alley Coffee. That one's good. Hey, Nelson Sanchez. Good to see you. This is always a pleasure joining your live stream. Always a pleasure to have you here. So, bit of a wander. I think you're in New York, right? We're like trading places here. So this is what I'd say. So bit of a wander says, what's the best coffee shop in New York? I'm gonna give you two to try, all right? I'm not sure how long you're in New York, but I'm gonna give you two recommendations. Tomorrow, I want you to go to the Upper West Side and go to Black Press Coffee. That's a good spot because it is very close to the Dakota. So 72nd-ish, I think, in Amsterdam. I think you're gonna like that. And then there's one in Soho as well, which is Gasoline Alley Coffee. That one's pretty good too. I'll quickly show you guys the tallest residential apartment building in Miami so far, but they are building an even taller one. That is going to be the Waldorf Astoria. So tomorrow is Sunday. I think I said this before, but for those of you who are just joining, we may not be having the Markets a Look Ahead live stream tomorrow. Okay, so on Sundays is the day where we usually cover in depth all of the major events that are going to be happening throughout the week on Wall Street. But tomorrow I may be doing some traveling, have to clean up around the house before the tenants come, so I may not be able to do that. But I think if you could just remember one thing about the week ahead, we are going to be getting tons and tons of housing data. Now, we've been talking about forward-looking indicators on the stream. Obviously, we like to use the PMIs, both the manufacturing PMIs and the services. But another really good gauge, I would say, as we could use that as a leading indicator, is a lot of the housing starts as well as permits. So we're going to be getting a lot of, I think we're going to get the housing starts data next week. We are going to hear some permitting data, but also as it relates to the National Association of Home Builders, we are going to be getting the existing home sales data. And so far, I think we are going on the 11th straight month of declines. So existing home sales declines. We've been seeing sales transactions dry up, obviously due to a higher interest rate environment. So who knows? We'll see what's going to happen. Obviously, last week was the conclusion of the FOMC meeting, where we got an additional 50 basis point rate hike after 4 consecutive 75 basis point rate hikes, bringing the Fed funds rate into a target range of 4.25% to 4.5%, which we're right on track to getting to 5% Fed funds by Q1 of 2023. Now, we also heard from 2 key Fed presidents, San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly, and she tends to be a little bit of a dove, right? She's more dovish than the rest. And there's been a lot of notable figures on Wall Street sort of calling for this Fed pivot. And they think once the Fed pivots, the markets are going to rally again and go up. And I really think they're sort of missing the point here. Now, I've always said, I'll give you guys one more shot of the Mandarin Oriental. This is a really nice hotel. There's actually one of these in the Deutsche Bank Towers in New York, formerly known as the Time Warner Center. But anyway, as I was saying, I don't really think it's the increments that the Fed raises rates. They could quote unquote pivot and only raise rates by 25 basis points. But I think we are going to be living in an environment where rates stay elevated, or I should say normalize, right? We're coming out of 14 years of artificially suppressed rates, and that is not normal. I think everybody thinks, okay, the Fed is just gonna raise rates to 5% as it relates to the Fed funds rate, and then they're just gonna start cutting all the way back down to zero. I think these people are gonna be wrong. Let's just say that. I think you'd be surprised. We may reach a point in time where the Fed doesn't raise rates, but they just keep rates elevated. And I think a lot of companies, as well as governments, the federal government is going to have a hard time dealing with that. So I think that's going to put continued stress and strain on the system, because as we've been talking about, this is a really nice view here. Over the last 14 years, corporations in America and corporates in the United States have gone on a huge debt binge, right? Acquisition of debt. And I think that's why a lot of these, not to single out a lot of the fintech companies, but I think a lot of the buy now, pay later, a lot of the fintechs, the only way their business models are sustainable is with low rates. So I think you're going to see some bankruptcies there. Maybe a little bit of a hot take, but we'll see. Fairways is to come back to 2020 at current interest rates. Housing prices have to decline more than 40% to 250,000. Anyone who bought a house since 2012 would be underwater on their initial purchase price is fairway. Interesting take. Dr. Longus says, hey Tom, do you have prediction of when there will be a pivot? I don't, but I will say this. This is sort of what I'm looking at. And I think people can fall. I think people are looking for what they want. Does that make sense? Now, usually when you really, really want something, when you're listening to somebody talk, you subconsciously manipulate their words into different meanings. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing on Wall Street. If you listen to any of the Fed presidents, right? John Williams, the New York Fed president, almost every single Fed president, and Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is coming out here and they're saying, I don't know how much clearer they could be, to be honest, but they're like, the job is not done. We are going to persist until the job is done 100%, and rates may stay elevated well into 2024. Now, Mary Daly actually came out last week and said that. She said we could go into an environment where we keep interest rates elevated well into 2024. Now, how do we think a lot of companies are going to react to that? Can some companies survive in an interest rate environment that's elevated for another 2 years? I don't know. I think you may be surprised. I'd also like to add this. There's a lot of people, especially on Twitter, and there's been a lot of very notable fund managers on CNBC, coming on CNBC and coming on Bloomberg as well, talking about stocks like Tesla, stocks like Alphabet, Amazon, right? They're so focused on these particular stocks, but if you look at the data, and I would really, really advise you guys to do this work yourself, okay? After a major secular bull market has concluded, right? So I'm talking about a full credit cycle, a full business cycle. The percentage that a former true market leader, right, the stocks that have gone up the most, emerge as the next bull market's true market leader is 2%. That's the probability. So the market, I think we have completed I think we put in a very, very major top in the market. And I think this next bull cycle, whenever that comes, the leaders are not going to be Tesla. It is not going to be Microsoft. It's not going to be Alphabet. It's not going to be any of the original leaders of the past. That's what I personally believe. If you look at the data, it's very, very clear that is not the case. New merchandise almost always leads in the next bull cycle. So I think a lot of people are making a mistake here. A lot of these people are saying, I'm just going to dollar cost average into Tesla. I'm going to dollar cost average into, these individual names that have put in major cycle tops. I'd like to remind everybody that, look at how long it took Microsoft to get back to break even and go into all-time record highs again. Over 10 years. So, there's something called opportunity costs. And if you're managing, a long short portfolio and you have a P&L to speak to, I think these names may not be the places to look. Again, just my opinion. What are you guys thinking about that? Any thoughts there? Yo, Dusty Cole is here. What's up, Dusty? Welcome. Always appreciate you being here. Yeah, Lady O says this area is very pricey. Brickell Key is very, very expensive. And anywhere across the water in Brickell is extremely expensive. It's almost as expensive as being in Manhattan, which is kind of crazy. Hey, Mustafa's here. Good to see you, Mustafa. Palmetti's is hard not to fall in love with Miami. I agree. Pilot 11 says, what do you think about the thesis that the Fed can't go above 5 regardless of inflation due to steepening yield curve? I don't think that has a relation. Some of the moderators, could we time out some of these people that are getting with these very strange comments? Maybe Lady O, you could take care of it. Dr. Longus, I think maybe you're a moderator as well. Julia M says, I would push back a bit, but say our trajectory was massively disrupted by COVID, and something like that has never disrupted the market so much. This is Julia M. Maybe, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, just the thing is, I'm just looking for new merchandise, right? I really don't think it's going to be wise to bottom fish these names here. Now, I think it may have been Mark Minervini. He wrote a really good book. And I think one of his, throughout his research, he said, if a stock is down 50%, there's an 80% probability it goes down 80%. So anytime a stock corrects 50%, there's an 80% probability it's going to go on to correct 80%. I think it's something along those lines. Hey, the Bandit says Tesla is going down in 2 years. Nobody likes Elon Musk. He should take lessons from Jeff Bezos. It's going down in 2 years. It's down 60% already. But good to see you, the Bandit. Welcome. Hey, Paulette says, hey, Tom, happy Saturday. I've been really, really busy lately. Well, that's good. Busy is good. Hopefully you are doing well. Always a pleasure to see you. Welcome. LaFresh Sinatra says, former New York City brother. We are New York formers, but still admire our old home. Indeed. Good to see you, and thank you for joining us on Brickell Key. Hey, Top G is here, so I have to agree, Tom. We're probably gonna be in an interesting range downward still, mixed with the period of stagflation. And when the bottom comes around, Apple, Tesla may not lead us out. You know, another interesting thing, I think you make a really good comment there. If you guys look at the major stocks that make up the S&P 500, the only, I should say, stock that has yet to crack, like really start decelerating to the downside, is Apple. And there's an old saying on Wall Street that the generals are the last to get shot. And since Apple has very good earnings and it has ample liquidity, right? I mean, Apple has $1 trillion market cap company. Institutions can hide out in those names because it is very liquid. So if you're a big mutual fund, if you're running money and you have an obligation to be a percentage-based long, right? Because it's not like these big institutions, if you're a mutual fund or something like that, you can't just go to cash, right? Like some more nimble long-short hedge funds can. So you have a mandate to be 80% long, 90% long. What they do is they sell. Wow, this is a really nice building here. Check this out, guys. They tend to sell, you know, the very high beta nonsense names with no earnings, and they have to crowd in to these very mega cap liquid leaders like Apple. And Apple is living below its 50-day moving average and its 200-day. And Paul Tudor Jones always says, you know, nothing good happens under the 200. So I think, you know, once Apple cracks, which I think it will, maybe that could be a signal where the market is nearing some sort of a bottom. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, @WalksWallStreet, I've posted some snapshots and charts comparing this market environment to 2018. Here's another shot of the Aston Martin building, by the way. Hey, Walking Minnesota, what's up? This is from a technical view. Apple is hanging on by a thread. Hey, the ABX girl, what's up? ABX girl is from the Bronx. Welcome to Miami. Thank you for being here, the ABX girl. Says, I agree. I may have mentioned before, but rents in my part in New York City dropped between $200 and $450 for higher end apartments. Really? $1,600 to $1,900 again in New York? No way. Interesting. Really? I mean, I just went on Zillow and I was looking at prices in Manhattan. I couldn't find any studio on the island of Manhattan for under $2,000. Maybe I'll look again, because if that's the case, I may have to do something there. Thank you for the heads up on that, ABX girl. Ooh, check this out. It seems to be a weird current is stirring up here. But you know what I never noticed? Look at this, everybody. This says, caution, crocodiles in the area. There's no way. I have never seen a crocodile here in my life. War Walker or Zozo Bob, have you ever seen a crocodile here in downtown Miami? Are you sure? Hey, Billy says, I heard Tesla's wait time for most of their models have come down a bit. I'm curious if the supply chain. Yeah, we'll have to look into that for sure. W is here. Welcome, Kathy Lyons. If you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, team, please hit the like button on the video. Also, hit the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams about 5 days a week, starting at 8:30 Eastern time. We would love for you guys to join us here. Yeah, Will M's famous last words, Tom, look out. I know, crazy, right? But seriously, guys, I've never seen a crocodile here ever. Never once. Con I Am says, I've seen dolphins in the bay. I've seen dolphins a ton of times too, and big sea turtles here, but not crocodiles. Usually the crocodiles are in the Everglades, not here. Strange. Hey, Selfridge is here. What's up? Welcome to Brickell Key. Now, everybody, notice the beautiful balconies here. Can you imagine having a place here? Brickell Key overlook. You probably have an amazing view, an unbelievable view. Hey, Herbert, thank you so much for the $2 donation. You're very, very kind. Thank you for supporting my work. I appreciate it. And I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. But yeah, speaking of the housing market, next week on Wall Street is going to be all about housing. We're going to be getting ample amounts of housing data. We're going to get housing starts, permits. Now, if you look on my Twitter, I went on Zillow just to sort of gauge the temperature of the rental market. And you'll notice the screenshot I took of downtown Miami, Brickell, and really all the surrounding areas of downtown Miami. And I couldn't find not one decent studio or one-bedroom apartment for under $2,000. Now, the ones that were like $1,700 to $1,400, these were like really in really bad shape. Really bad shape. So if you want to get anything decent, and I'm talking about anything decent, you're going to have to cough up like $2,200, which is really wild still, because look, interest rates have gone up over 100% in 1 year, right? And if we've been looking at the CPI report, this is the Aston Martin building, by the way. I'll give you one more look at it. What has been very consistent in the CPI report is shelter costs have actually been increasing, and we've not been seeing a drastic deceleration in shelter costs. In places like New York City and Miami, obviously these may be anomalies because there's so much demand here. Now, rents are easing a little bit, but still, back in the day before COVID, you could probably get something to rent in downtown Miami, Brickell Key, for under $2,000. It's just not even a reality anymore. Hey, Sabrina Fair, good to see you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Ed T. This is Tom. Have you seen an alligator around there? I haven't. I think they're really only in the Everglades, though. I Want to Be GMOs. Is Zillow the best place for rentals? That's usually what I look at to keep tabs on the market, to be honest. All right, we'll walk to the end here. Notice how peaceful it is here on Brickell Key. It's amazing. And all the way in the distance is you can see the Royal Caribbean Cruise. That is where all the major cruise ships take off. I'm surprised we're actually getting internet connection here. Hey, Dan Zhang, what's up, man? Dan, I gotta ask you, who do you have for tomorrow? Argentina or France? Who you got? Wow, you could actually see 50 Biscayne in the distance too. That's a really nice building. And for some context, this is the 200 Southeast Financial Center where we started streaming. I know, Cindy Folis is quiet there tonight. So we are on Brickell Key, which is its own separate island, detached from downtown Miami in Brickell. Now, the good news and the good thing about living here is that it's secluded and detached from everywhere, so you don't have a lot of street noise. It is very, very quiet. But the bad news is there's really no public transportation here, and you have to go over that one small bridge to get here. But chances are, if you could afford to live on Brickell Key, you probably have, drivers and chauffeurs and things like that. I feel right at home now in New York with all the scaffolding. Nelson Sanchez is the building to your left, looks quite empty. Yeah, so it is empty because it's not complete yet. So that is the Aston Martin building. And the funny thing about that is, even though it's not completed, I think like 93 or 94% of the units are 100% accounted for, which means they're already sold out. So you probably couldn't even buy a place there if you wanted to now, because it's all booked up. Let's see if we could see anything in the water. Wow, the views are amazing here. I'm sure the live stream doesn't do it justice, but it is unreal here. Dan Zhang says, statistically, France is the stronger side. Yeah, you're right. Something just jumped out of the water right here. Yeah, Fred X says the Aston Martin building needs to be lit up. Well, supposedly it's going to be lit up exactly like the Miami Tower, which, if that's true, that is going to be ridiculous because that is going to be so bright. But everybody, look at these balconies here. Amazing. Hey, DJ Blackjack says, if Argentina wins, Miami will look like Argentina in the streets. You know what? You're right. So I'll tell you a quick story. Today I spent most of my time in North Beach, right at 72nd Street. And almost every restaurant had Argentina flags outside. And I've been noticing a lot of the cars that have been driving around the streets today, everybody is waving an Argentina flag. Almost everybody. So it's gonna be wild here tomorrow. Oh wow, I don't think we've seen this before on the stream. You could actually see the Ferris wheel all the way here from Brickell Key. I don't think we've seen this before. So you can see all the way to Bayside Marketplace too. Hey Penelope, what's up? Penelope is joining us from Tennessee. Good to see you, Penelope. And welcome to Brickell Key. It's good to see you. DJ Blackjack says 72nd is known as Little Buenos Aires. They have a ton of good spots. That's actually my favorite location in all of Miami. So my absolute favorite is just across the, what is that, the Intercoastal there? Normandy Shores, Normandy Isles. I actually got some really, really good footage for you guys today. I shot a standalone video doing a little bit of a real estate market recap. You guys have to see some of these houses. on Normandy Isles. Now, in 2014 and 2015, I've told you guys this a million times, but we do have some new people here. I was actually looking to buy a piece of property there for like $550, $575. Now, you can't get a single family home, duplex, triplex on Normandy Isles for under $1 million now. Even still, now that real estate prices have come down and interest rates have gone up a mere 100%. So I filmed a standalone video for everybody. I'll probably have that up maybe in a week or so. I'm gonna try to put out more standalone content to do some specific deal analysis on neighborhoods that I'm interested in investing in. Because at the end of the day, one of the things I'm noticing about that neighborhood in particularly is there's still a lot of the original Miami homes, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, built in the 70s and 80s. But what you're starting to see now is every other house on the block was either purchased and totally demolished, and they're building these unbelievable mansions. They're building these unbelievable mansion-style properties, which are just insane. And I think that trend is going to continue. I think that Normandy Shores is going to turn into sort of like a Star Island type place where the properties will go for multiple millions of dollars. You probably won't even be able to get anything there pretty soon for under $1 million. Yo, Out and About, what's up? Out and About's joining us from Toronto, Canada. Out and About, we got to get you down here to Miami. I think you need a break from the Canadian cold. We got to get you down here. Sally is here. Says, hey, Tom, good to see you, Sally. All right, for some context here, look at how low the tide is. You could see all the rocks here. Surprised how low the tide is. Gina Thomas says, or Hawaii says, looks so peaceful there. It's very, very peaceful here. I see our good friend Abdullah, welcome. Hello, mate 2008. Good to see you. Oh, these people have Christmas lights on their balcony here. Jeff says, Tom, you're not pronouncing Out and About correctly. Nicholas Sturr says, Tom, have you ever been to Denver? I have not, but I actually was going to move to Denver at one point. Denver is a really, really emerging town, especially a tech town. Now, we were talking about private equity, and very famous private equity firm, Thoma Bravo, has acquired Ping Identity, formerly trading under the ticker PING. They're based out of Denver. I interviewed with them. Didn't take the job. But Thoma Bravo actually just acquired another company, Coupa Software. Trades under the ticker symbol COUP. Tavara says, where's the exact spot you are right now? Brickell Key. You can actually hear the water too. Really, really nice. Wow, it's awesome here. I actually got sidetracked a bit. Yeah, Dr. Long is therapeutic. Extremely. We've never actually walked this far. I'm kind of glad we came here. Maybe we'll walk all the way around. I've never been here, so this is a first for me. It's first for maybe many of you. Oh, we got this boat coming by. Let's get that. Now, I believe this looks like a fishing boat. Eric Kaufman says, Tom, did you run into Uncle G? I have not, but I've actually met him in person one time. He's a nice guy. Okay, I think this is my favorite view here. Oh, look at this. This looks like, what is that? Like a guy blowing into a conch shell? This is definitely like a party boat here. Man, this place is awesome. Could you imagine if they extended the Metro Mover over here? Whew. T. Cook, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here on this Saturday night. Check this out. You must have an amazing view from up here. Hey, Fabio from Brazil. What's up, Fabio? Good to see you. We are walking Brickell Key, but I think we actually have to pick up the pace here, friends. Now, I want to keep walking down this way, but I don't know where that's going to lead us, and we are probably either going to run out of battery. You know what? We'll go down this way. We'll see where it takes us. I just got to get back over the bridge here. Imal says, Tom, you're a software engineer? I am not. Nicholas Thurr says, you know, Tom, I think the main public transportation... Interstate high... Yeah, I've heard that too. I think you're right. The interstate highway system kind of killed it. I think you're right. I'm on the sales side, not the engineering side. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. I think I'm still young enough where I can make a career pivot if I wanted to. Try different things, try new things. Oh my God, that scared the hell out of me. It's kind of dark on this side now. Now, if you have high blood pressure, I would move to Brickell Key and I would take a walk on this little path every night. And I can almost guarantee you, looking at all the clouds, looking at all the palm trees, looking at the water, your blood pressure will probably go down within a month. It is so peaceful here. So I guess I'll give you guys a couple quick announcements. So I just finished the 2023 Walks in Wall Street schedule. So I will be posting that on the YouTube community page as well as the Discord. So for all of those who are either new to the live stream or new to the channel, you'll always know the type of content that is coming out. So you're gonna see it. I did it in Excel, very clean, cut, and concise. You'll see when we're posting standalone videos, when we're doing the live streams. Also, when we are doing our market update behind the desk videos. So in the new year, the channel is gonna be a little bit more organized, a little bit more structured. I think you guys will like it. Also, some news out of Twitter. Hopefully this will take us back around. I'm not too sure how big Brickell Key is. I guess we'll find out. So Twitter is shutting down review. So we are going to be migrating our newsletter over to Substack. And I am almost complete with the Substack page, I should say. So that's coming down the pike. I think we could cross through here. I think. Let me see. Top G says, Tom, what do you think about proprietary trading firms? I don't really think about them. What is my opinion on them? I guess I don't really have an opinion. I mean, they're just prop trading firms. I guess they're good. Sure. Are you, in what regard are you asking the question? Do you want to get a job there? Now, I guess I'll just assume what you're asking. If you're interested in proprietary trading, hopefully we can go this way. I don't even know. I would just apply to the investment banks, right? You can work in sales and trading or proprietary trading at the investment bank. But yeah, there's proprietary trading firms all over. All right, how do we get out of here, team? I think I may have to call War Walker to, what is that show? You could phone a friend. What was that called? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You could phone a friend. Something like that. Who remembers that? Oh my God, talk about a throwback. All right, I'm gonna use it. I'm using it. I'm using phone a friend. War Walker, if you're in the chat, can you direct us to? Oh, phone a friend was Cash Cab. You may be right. Oh no, I think we're out of it. Now, if you look on Google Maps, Brickell Key does not look like a big place, but it is. I could assure you when you actually get here, it's pretty big. Ah, British Grey, that was Cash Cab, yeah. Great show, by the way. Great show, Cash Cab. All right, fantastic. We are now at the entrance of Brickell Key. NPC 007, good to see you. You know, NPC 007, I got a story about your username. So I've been getting these very strange emails. And it's by like the same 3 people. And they keep sending me these emails about like going on these big massive tangents about how I shouldn't be calling people NPCs. And I'm like, what the hell are these people talking about? At first I thought they were trolls, but I'm not calling anybody NPC. That's your username. So I didn't know what it meant. Like these people are like, they were saying MAGA this, you're MAGA, and you shouldn't say NPC, and you're spreading false narratives. It's just, you should see some of the emails I get. I mean, it's just, people are nuts. Love all you guys, but I mean, some people send me crazy stuff. You would be surprised. So I went on the Urban Dictionary, and supposedly NPC is like an insult. I never knew that. Now, I'm not sure if your username is meant to be like that, but supposedly, I guess NPC is an insult. I never even knew what it meant. Anyway, so I guess it means somebody who can't think objectively. I never knew that. Never knew that. Robert, so Robert, I can't see the chat, but I do appreciate anybody who's been making donations to the channel. I appreciate it. I just can't see the chat. I can only see like very, very teeny tiny slivers of the usernames. Yeah, Days Works is non-playable character. I don't know. I really don't know what it means, but supposedly it means something bad. Anyway. So on Monday, everybody, we're going to do a little bit of an impromptu market to look ahead stream. So we're going to hear from the National Association of Home Builders as they release their housing market index for December. Now, the consensus estimate is for a 33 reading, which would match November's reading. And if you remember, the day after Fed Day, when the market really, really got hammered, the market took a massive hit. The only industry or the only sector that was actually in the green was home builders. So it's going to be interesting to see what the sentiment is out there for home builders as we enter in this massive, massive high interest rate environment, demand crush. But now we are headed back over the bridge into Brickell. So we are now leaving Brickell Key. Cindy Foley, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Joe Drivers is Q3 lots of home short sales and foreclosures. Money M23, this is Tom. How long do you think interest rates will stay elevated? Well, according to the two Fed presidents that we heard from last week, San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly and Fed President John Williams out of New York, I think they're going to remain elevated till 2020 through 2024. And again, I just like to repeat, because I think this is very critical. I really don't think the importance is only focusing on the amount of rate hikes. It's really at the duration of how long these interest rates will stay elevated, because that is going to put extreme stress and strain on a lot of companies too. And if we talk about the banking sector, the refinancing market is just gone to zero, right? Anybody who purchased a property over the last 14 years probably has, a sub 5% interest rate. So if you have the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage, now in all honesty, the average 30-year fixed has come down to about 6.5. But it was at 7. So nobody is going to refinance at all in that environment. All right, here is the Panorama Tower. Unit J22, thank you for joining, and please enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right, up here is really slippery. Fabio says, hey Tom, I'm thinking about getting back into trading penny stocks. Have you ever traded penny stocks and enjoyed it? I would definitely not do that. I would take the polar opposite approach and just completely disregard penny stocks. What you want to do, right, and I can't tell you what to do, but I could just tell you what I do. In bull markets, I like to look for companies who are compounding out their earnings at about 25% quarter over quarter, as well as per annum. I like to look for companies who are also accelerating their sales and their revenues by 25% plus quarter over quarter, and that are consistently reporting beat and raise earnings reports. And I want to size into these names and hold them for long periods of time. Probably 18 to 24 months. Because if you really think about it, I don't want to sit at my screen and try to scrape, a couple points off of a garbage stock of a garbage company that doesn't earn any money. What I want to do is find the companies that are generating a ridiculous amount of free cash, that have an amazing disruptive product, and the company is very, very profitable, that is consistently beating analysts' expectations for earnings. And I want to size into these names because all of the major institutional investors and mutual fund managers are buying these particular stocks. They're not buying the junk. They're not buying garbage penny stocks. So I want to be in with size in the same names that the best money managers on the street are sizing into, right? And that's also generally going to reduce your volatility, right? If you get into a very, very liquid name that has phenomenal fundamentals, you're going to have every single manager on the street and every analyst going to their PM in their morning meeting saying, hey, look at this company, look at this stock. I think we should make an investment, right? Because also in the mutual fund industry, there are specific regulations where in many funds, they're not allowed to buy companies that have very, very poor financials, right? They need to buy something with earnings. They need to buy something with sales to avoid the potential, I should say,
Come in my boat.
of, what'd you say? What'd you say?
He said, come in his boat. Come in my boat.
Oh, okay. So they can avoid potential litigation. So I would stay away from the penny stocks. I think that guy had his Submariner on. I think the Submariner Rolexes. Top G would just, yeah, sometimes when when you're walking around, you'll see people, like, I know what these people say, right? But sometimes when you say, what'd you say? They're not expecting it, and they'll just look at their phone, they're like, oh my God, he confronted me. And then you say, oh, okay, nice. Leo, good to see you, welcome. Now, I'll recommend two particular books, Fabio, that I think you're really going to enjoy, which is a similar framework, right? We always talk about a systematic framework for investing if we're, running money or running other people's money, especially. Right? You really just don't want to be punting people's money, especially if you have to answer for P&L. One of the books I would recommend is by William J. O'Neill, the founder of Investors Business Daily. And that is How to Make Money in Stocks. And then the second one I would recommend is Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Phil Fisher. I think that's a really, really good book you're going to enjoy. And you'll notice that there's specific frameworks to investing appropriately, and it's very, very obvious between a retail framework and an institutional framework for investment. All right, let's head over the bridge. And I think that'll take us right up to the 2-hour mark. Right on schedule. Now again, there's probably gonna be about a 50% probability that we're live tomorrow. But I do have to do a ton of work around the house. I'm gonna be flying back to New York on Monday. I have to prepare for the tenants. I got to do a lot of yard work. So we may or may not be live. Andy is here. Good to see you, Andy from South Korea. Andy, I may be visiting Korea in January. I'm excited for that. I just have to get my passport, and it's been very, very difficult, to say the least. Strider says, will you stream in Korea? Probably not. Hey, the investigator, thank you so much. This is enjoy the game tomorrow. Hopefully Argentina wins. Unfortunately, the game is at 10 o'clock in the morning. I really, really wish it was later in the day, like 2 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock. But FIFA makes the rules, not me. I know Jay's like Korea in January, it's gonna be freezing. Yeah, not looking forward to that, but we'll see. ATC says you want Argentina to win too. Yeah, I mean, Croatia game was good today. Did anybody see that? Croatia, Morocco. Now, I wanted Morocco to win. I think that would have been the first time in history that an African nation medaled in the World Cup. I know, Ed T says hate early games on the weekends. Well, for us Americans, anytime we want to watch the Premier League, it's always on a Saturday morning, right? Now, I think Cristiano Ronaldo is well on his way to, Saudi Arabia with his $200 million contract. That's going to be insanity. I think that sets a record for the largest football contract ever. Steph UH, good to see you. This is I'm late, I had dinner with friends. We went to Brickell Key. We talked about housing. It's gonna be a busy week on Wall Street with housing data. All week, it's just gonna be housing data, permits, existing home sales, everything. I know, the investigator says walks from Wall Street, who really needs that much money? It's crazy. Well, I think this is probably what was gonna happen. I'm just speculating here. The MLS, or Major League Soccer, was probably gonna make a big bid for Cristiano Ronaldo. But, I mean, Saudi Arabia, it's almost like they have unlimited money, right? So I think they threw out a ridiculous number just so none of the MLS teams could possibly compete with that. At least that's what I think it happened. Yeah, Daniel G from Buenos Aires, Argentina says don't miss the game tomorrow. It's going to be the World Cup final, man. I'm excited. I'm going to be watching. Jeff W277 says, Tom, do you think any of the housing numbers will, well, I should say October, right? It's previously looking data. It's 11 months in a row that the National Association of Realtors is releasing declining or decelerating home sales, right? And I think we're going to continue to decelerate here. Now, if we have a number that comes in above expectations, could the market assume that that's good news? Now, I don't know, and the reason why I say that is because it could be interpreted in a couple of different ways. The market could interpret that like, oh my God, consumers are still spending, they're still buying homes. That means the Federal Reserve is going to look at that data as well. I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize the Fed is looking at all of the same data that we are looking at, right? The Fed is not stupid. They're looking at all the same things that we're looking at in order to make a decision on monetary policy. So the Fed is trying to slow down the overall economy. They're trying to slow down the housing market. So if they see a surprise to the upside, well, maybe Jerome Powell will take that and say, all right, well, maybe we need to do go bigger and do a 75 basis point rate hike next time. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Now, talking about central banking here for a minute, next week we are also going to hear from a major central bank called the BOJ, or the Bank of Japan. Now, the Bank of Japan is a little bit of an oddball out. There's the Metro mover going by. And the reason why I say that is the Bank of Japan is still in quantitative easing, whilst the Federal Reserve here in the United States, the ECB, and the Bank of England is in severe quantitative tightening, right? So we'll see what the monetary policy decision is next week. We're going to hear from the Bank of Japan. Now, obviously, due to multiple factors that we've been talking about in the live stream, the Bank of Japan has to sort of keep monetary policy very accommodative. Hey, Dusty Cole says your mom is listening. Well, Dusty Cole's mom, Dusty Cole's fantastic. Very smart guy, very capable. All right, Southeast 3rd Avenue, we're gonna cross. And I think we'll end it here, my friends. It was a fun night. I'm glad we got to go to Brickell Key. Thank you all for joining me tonight. If you enjoyed the live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. And please hit the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams about 5 days a week between New York City and Miami. We will be back in New York on Monday, unfortunately. But New York's a good place. But not looking forward to the cold. If you want to connect with us on Twitter, you can follow @WalksWallStreet. And we will see you next time. I'm gonna go in here and grab something for dinner. I have no food in my house. I emptied the entire thing out. I think what I'm gonna do, since this is my last night in New York, or in Miami, I'm gonna get, what's it called? Hot Italian sausages and cook them on the grill. So thank you so much, Will M, Palmetti's, Abdullah, by the book. Everybody, enjoy your night off. Enjoy Sunday. I mean, my God, you guys have earned it. You guys work like dogs. And I'm proud of you guys. So I'll leave you off with those kind words. And I will see you all in the next one, either tomorrow or Monday. Tomorrow we'll be live from Miami. Monday we'll be live. And I'll see all of you later. Take care.